have about 10, 15 minutes, so I'll try and be fast, and I'll need you guys to be responsive as well. So let's imagine this. A lot of deliberations have been going on. Teachers, students, who is more important, technology, etc. Blah blah blah. Okay, but let's imagine people learning outside, learning not in a school. I know you're school owners. Just take the picture. Let's go on the journey. Learning at different times and different places. If it sounds familiar to you, just identify. People armed with different devices, laptops, PDAs, holograms, whatever devices you have. Students picking their teachers and not parents picking schools for their kids. Now, this part, I heard, I think was it the first or the second speaker, they kept saying, and the parents didn't want their children to go to certain schools. Imagine the students picking, we're not even saying picking their schools, picking their teachers. Imagine it, we're going somewhere, picking their teachers, who they want to instruct them. Hello, mom, I want Dr. Phil in Amsterdam to be my algebra teacher. And we're in Okanafu. Just get that picture. Skills not assessed on paper, but based on the performance in the field. So imagine when we don't have to write those paper examinations anymore. Do you guys get the picture? You get it? Is it possible? Is it happening? It's happening. In as much as it looks like the future, it's now. It is happening and is going to happen. They said, and are teachers inevitable? Let's just correct this. When it comes to content, somebody has to prepare the content. People have to prepare the content. And it's a good strategy to get your teachers to be able to prepare the content. When Mr. Gunshola was speaking, he said something about teachers being the bridge. They are the silent factor in our education system getting fixed. And I'm going to look at us from as Akwa Ibomites. We look at us like Nigerians. He also said something about us having the same access all other people around the world have. We have the technology, we have the content, then we can meet up and be at peers with everyone around the world. So that future is now, and it's not too far. The pandemic scattered all the plans. I know we're making plans. I know back then we used to say e-learning was for, the classy schools, e-learning is for the schools, the private schools, e-learning. But we've seen now that it is it's inevitable. We have to integrate e-learning in our day-to-day learning. So, I wish you could shut that. Can you shut that? Because I want us to pass through a little test. Just wherever you see the information, substitute it for content. So, students are given the information they need to know. Does this happen in your class? Yes. Does this happen in your classes? Students are given the information they need to know. If it happens, lift up your hands. No, now, you people don't do this. Are students given the information they need to know? Well, then just raise up your hands. Oh, good. The students are asked to memorize the information. Nobody. They memorize, right? Yeah, they have to. Yes. Lift up your hands. Beautiful. Students are assigned a problem to apply the information. Otherwise, what's the use of the information? Yes, people are not confident. School owners and we teachers. So students are given the information they need to know. Students are asked to memorize the information. Students are assigned the problem to fix the information. Right? That sounds like your school, right? Beautiful. So that is traditional learning. And we have to do away with that. classrooms, we already spoke. Everyone has nailed it on the head. Collaborative classrooms make students learn in a more relaxed environment. So if you're going to be creating content, in fact, I was saying, whatever ideas, when you finish teaching a class, gather the students around and hear what they have to say. Just hear what they have to say. And maybe don't be there so they don't feel, oh, the teacher is watching. Just hear them gisting. Just listen to their perspective on those subjects. And you find out that you just refreshing content, new dimensions of how things are seen, not just the way the teacher presented it. Innovating pedagogy, of course, e-learning, that's what you're all about. Student-led learning. Now, this student-led learning is what I'm silently preaching. I'm saying that we don't know the future, but it is inevitable. Students will eventually learn, as there'll be the agencies in which the learning and education passes through. They'll be the ones who choose their teachers. They'll be the ones that will choose what content. Do I want asynchronous or synchronous learning? Do I want it a live feed interaction, or do I want to just read and then study later? They are the ones that will choose it. So we have to strategically focus on our content. Our content should also focus on problem-solving content. Okay, so I went back. Please go back. Just, yes, back. No, okay, forward. Next. Preparing students for, he said it all. I don't know how people that we have never gathered in one room. We didn't gather the speakers in one room and discuss about anything, but they just came here and everyone was sounding as if we gave them a blueprint on what to say. We're preparing for careers. Right now, the children in JS1 or, yeah, primary 1, in the next 10 years, they will graduate, plus or minus, they will graduate from the university. So imagine that you have to prepare them for a career that probably doesn't exist now. So we're not going to rack our brains to predict that, okay, carpenters will now be using simulators to, draw their carpentry work, and then they'll post it somewhere, and then we'll go buy the wood ourselves and couple it. No, I'm not saying you should predict that, but I was saying that if we have our content right, the essence for learning, the reason why we are even putting our content together, and it has a problem-solving approach, then we can overshadow whatever future careers that are being produced. We cannot ignore the use of technology. We cannot ignore the use of problem-based solving. And, okay. We also cannot ignore, okay, this slide is probably just saying for content to be good, it has to be easily assimilated, of course. It has to be engaging, of course. It has to be a memorable experience, of course. These are the things that will keep the self-paced learner. How many of us have registered for courses online and never completed them, even after we paid? Yes. So when you're dealing with creating content for children, it has to, I don't know how to put it, like computer games, but you find out that when they go to play their PS what, they can stay there for 8 hours. Go and eat, go and eat. No, I'm coming, no, I'm coming. You get, it has to be engaging, and that's the kind of content I'm talking about. I'm actually talking about notes. I'm talking about recorded classes. I'm talking about learning, being fun, understanding the reason behind things, not just cramming. So you understand the elements and the reasons why certain things are even to. And a child can ask you, why do we need to learn this? I will never forget that in my year 2. So we need to connect the dots, and we just have to create problems, scenarios, aspects. When anyone chooses a field in the university to study, the person is saying in that field, I want to be a solution provider in that field. Medicine, the sciences, arts, lawyers. I want to be a solution provider in that field. So we're still on the same track. Okay, next. I think I'm almost wrapping up. No, before that, what gives content? I mean, that part of what gives content. What gives content? No, yeah. What gives your content power? So I try and make it at the solutions collaborative. So there's only so much when it comes to content that I can give you. Like to be a school or an institution that has good content. Problem-based learning, students will be drawn to content that solve problems. There'll come a time when all those theoretical things that we used to, cram and it's already here. The time is already here. We don't have need for those things if you don't have an understanding on how it's going to solve any issue in our environment. And finally, technology, ease of access to good content. We all have that advantage. We have the advantage of learning what current trends they are in technology when it comes to education. We have the access to the internet. We have the advantage. So we have the advantage to compete and showcase our content anywhere in the world. Now, the teacher upgrade. I was just discussing while the summit was going on. I was discussing with my people back there, and they said, "Oh, Miss Martin said I forgot. Tell the teachers to always upgrade every year." And I was like, "Don't worry, I'll add it to my slide." So this is very important. I do not know about, unless you want to pay some extra consultation fees, I do not know about the actual skills that everyone should do so that we just, solve this problem and all. But if the school has a blueprint or a strategy where they are going and how they intend to, bridge this gap, then you could go back to the 8 emerging technologies that, was there and look at the certifications circled around there. I'm sure you come up with something that your teachers can, go through, like every year, apart from the school owners. School owners are the vision carriers, and they know they have they know the usefulness, of these certifications. Some teachers don't. Some teachers just want the job. Some of them are not even tailored for that kind of because if you ask me, teachers are going to be researchers. If you're going to make impact in 21st century, you need to just have that ability to research. Researchers is not for people that are advanced and wearing glasses. You that you sit down at night, you Google, you be searching and pressing different things. You find out about okay, birds are flying. Why is that bird flying and it's blue? What's the name of the blue and orange bird? You go search it out. That's the spirit. So teachers are more of researchers. So you just have to come up with a strategy, a blueprint for your content in your educational institutions, and map out something that is in touch with learning methods and the emerging trends for your teachers to, embark on. So imagine you had a one-stop solution. Just imagine you had an online classroom, you had good content, curated and prepared, by people in the industry, and then school administration. There's something they call, I think he mentioned it, flipped classrooms, where we try to handle any theoretical messages that we need to, pass to our students outside the classrooms, and then classrooms just for content and, subject delivery. Imagine if you had all that on one platform. Wouldn't that be nice? Hello? Yes, we will. Okay, so on that note, I'll call upon the Head of Business Development, HTG Limited, to come do a showcase. Esther Jadaman, on our proposal.
Okay, so I heard during the panel session, somebody asked, is technology going to replace teachers? It's yes and no. Yes, because if you stay as just a teacher with stuff in your head, yes, you are going to be replaced. Whether you accept it or not, I am going to show you what is going to replace you. And no, because what we are about to show you is not going to operate itself. It would still rely on people who can create, like she said, content that is engaging, content that is interesting. So yes and no, truly. All right, so let's start. I also remember during the panel session, everybody kept saying they were using an online platform, online platform, online platform. Truth is, if you are not here yet, you are 10 years behind time, whether you accept it or not. That is me telling you. Because we have worked with a lot of schools. We have sampled opinions around the country. We have sampled beyond the country now. We have also dealt with. Have we all heard of blended learning? Where we can come to the physical building, and then we can also school from anywhere we are. And it's the same thing. Like, there's no disparity. There's nothing saying, okay, because I didn't go to school and attended online, I am no longer. That line between schooling online and coming to class has completely been wiped off. And if you are not, if you do not have a system of getting this done, you are actually really, really behind time. Okay, so we have this platform that can help school owners. Let me say it the way it is. It might not sound very interesting to teachers, but it is the truth. Can help school owners get rid of redundant teachers. Because as a school owner, if you create the content that I need, I would need fewer teachers to deal with a larger number of children because the content is there. So all we now need teachers to do is basic supervision, not coming to class with blackboard and with chalk to talk again. That talk is going to get obsolete. We may no longer need it. So the content is there. It's guided based on a curriculum, so the children can log in and follow the system. We can chat at even at off school hours. So I'm going to need fewer teachers to do that. Now, if you are a teacher and you're not preparing yourself for that level of relevance, those are the teachers that technology is going to replace. But don't worry, we got you. For the teachers, even if you're a teacher and you are looking to upgrade your tech skills, we are here for you. Don't worry, the government is supporting you to make sure that you stay relevant. Anyway, okay. Sorry. All right, so this is our platform. And please, before you start thinking about the financial implication, don't worry. I don't think there is no school in this room that cannot afford this platform. Platform is called Blink, Blended Learning, because that's what we are pushing, and we believe that this is the best time, and we felt that gathering you, the decision makers in the educational sector, and then picking your ideas from everything we have said here. If you see my notes, the things we are going to redo to implement, we have learned a lot from this session. Okay, so this is how the system works. I know that almost every school in this room already has a school management system, a place where parents can pay school fees, where it is possible to check results, they can upload results and the likes. But the challenge when COVID came was that you had to find a learning management solution. People were using Edmodo, Google Classroom. People were using Zoom and WhatsApp. So you had to move students' data from your school management system to whatever you were using to do learning management. And I know some schools crumbled. Like, we got to a point where some people said, I beg, waiting, make a rest. And they didn't do anything because it was overwhelming. And I feel you, it is overwhelming, even for a tech person, to move data from different data points. So I'm going to move from my one students and add them to Zoom, and then create email addresses per parent and send to all of them, and then send them link to all those email addresses. Now, this is one class I'm talking about. In fact, this is just for my 1A. I haven't entered for my 1B, C, D, and then I'm now going to do 2, 3, 4, 5. Jesus. It is tiring. It's overwhelming. And then it distracts you from the actual business of teaching. So the technology now becomes a problem, not a solution. So a lot of schools, I tried to work with schools at that time, and I thought that was the major problem. Now, that was just the data aspect. Now, forget the content creation. I worked with several schools in that time, and I saw that it was a lot of work. So now, what this platform does is, it's a marriage between your school management system and a learning management system. So you don't need to struggle to move people from here to here. So first, I am, okay, before I get into the system proper, I also want to say that, yes, somebody asks, will books be replaced? Physical books may be replaced. I am saying so because on this platform, we have Nigerian publishers who have published their books here. So from here, a child can actually get the book they need for the term, and on their single device, they have access to, they can pay fees, they can attend classes, and they can read books on that single device. So whatever we were saying, all that thing that was sounding like the future, it is not the future, it is here. All right, so let's start from the conference. So this is Zoom inside this app. Like, let me call it Zoom so that all of us understand what I mean. Live video conferencing. So start on. So Steve has joined the meeting. So what we did was just set up, if we go back, but we're not going to be able to do this step by step on this platform because it takes a lot of time. So we'll try to summarize. So what happened was he added a conference. So a teacher that has access to a class can just add a conference. And then when you select, now there's a place we put all the school data. And the teacher that is allocated to the class has their students. So anything they select, their students are added. So when that teacher says start a conference and clicks on it, all their students get the information on their devices or whatever email address they put. And they just click to join the class. So the teacher does not have to go and create Zoom link. Are you clapping for me or the software? Or for the two of us? Anyway, sorry, let me. So this is where you add conference. Don't do it, please, for time's sake. This is where you add the conference. It will select the teacher name. It will say when you're scheduling. So it doesn't have to be at the moment, even if it's in future. And then it will show you the students who are in attendance. You can actually edit it. You can delete it if you change your mind. And then when it's time, teacher just comes in and starts the meeting. And the students can join. Straightforward. Bam, bam, 5 minutes, you're done. Then let's look at go back to the landing page. Okay, here. Next thing is the lesson dashboard. Lessons. So I'm going to focus a lot on the learning management part because I know that everybody here already understands how the school management systems work. So now we can come here and add lesson. Click on add lesson. So it will show the lesson name, the lesson type, the start date for the lesson time, and then a brief description of the lesson. Then when you go to the next page, it is now possible to either add project slides, like PowerPoint slides of the class, and it's also possible to add videos. It is the how to create those videos that Mrs. Emma was talking about. So you can add videos, and I would like to say here that there's a project currently going on where the state is supporting in creating content. So very soon, you might actually have Nigerian content curriculum already ready. Like, so you buy the system and the content based on maps to the curriculum is already available. So if you're a teacher and you haven't found a way to be technologically useful, the school owner may actually be on their way to no longer need your service. Then let's go to exam dashboard. That's the next thing. So on our platform now, it is possible to add exams. So students can actually write exams. I remember when we were doing a demo for somebody, the person asked, so that means students can stay at home, use 2 phones. They'll be Googling with one and writing the exam with one. Maybe. But yes, it is now possible for them to write exams from wherever they are. Now, it is possible, please add exam. It is possible to add objective exams. It is possible to add subjective exams. It is possible to add true or false. It is like different exam types. So no matter how you want the children to, if you want them to write short explanations, everything is now possible and can be done on this platform. And because we are rushing through, we may not have time to show you the details. And so we are saying, if you would like to see a demo of this thing in details, like we can book a schedule, give you 1 hour of our time and take round it one aspect at a time. You can just leave your name with Mrs. Anita. Then we would schedule a time and come see you. And then next we have the collaboration tool. The board. So this board is almost like Facebook. So a student in class can come up with a question, and then their other classmates, you can click on what is already going on. This guy. So somebody wrote this, and then somebody asked this question, and then these are people's responses. So we can collaborate within the class. We can have conversations amongst ourselves. A teacher can ask questions, and then the students can answer in real time on their devices, right? So it is not, and then they can also share files amongst themselves. They can share, maybe I found a material on something I think my classmates will benefit from. It is also possible to share that. So technically, we are saying that it is possible to be in Uyo and have students in Kaduna. I always used to have that desire that my children will learn this one from this school, that one from that school, in different layers, because I felt that I could find someone that had a particular expertise, but then it was difficult to get, like, how will I share the time around? But now technology is making it possible. So you can have students from anywhere now. Because even on this platform, we have the admissions portal where that part is online. That part is at the front end of your website. So it's possible for someone to come in, request to be admitted, go through the process. There's a process depending on what your school wants. We'll customize it to suit different schools, and then stay wherever they are and attend these classes because you have created content based on the Nigerian curriculum. The person is eligible to write the whole works. Everything is now possible with the aid of an app that is not everybody can afford it. It is that Mrs. Emma says it is recharge card money. Okay, so with that, I think it is time for lunch. I'm seeing people's faces and people are hungry. But before the lunch, if you have any questions, it will be my pleasure. Who? Martin. Okay. All right.
Thank you very much. Like, we can't clap enough for this idea. Should we clap again, please? Can we just clap? You know, and then we say Akwa Ibom isn't ready. And I say the people that either will help the government progress are within us or will hold us back. Now, you know, I'm looking at that and I'm beginning to see jobs. If you look at this app, you see jobs for photographers.
Yes.
If you look at this app, you see job for people in design.
Yes.
If you look at this app, you see different kinds of occupations that will queue into trying to create content for this, and everybody has more jobs. That is why education is keeping this country back. And the kind of education we need is in the hands of the people. And if only the teachers and the principals will understand that this nation needs us, we will create this change. Blink is just a blink to what it is that we can do with this. And this is good work. I must commend you.
Thank you.
I must recommend e-library as a whole. But I want to say, I have been in the educational sector for about 18 years. Don't mind the size, please. At least I've managed a nursery, primary, and a secondary school. And I have admitted students over years. And I have tutored. But I noticed that if we want to go about Blink as educators, it's going to be challenging to us. Somehow, how the school managers are going to manage parents who do not have the technical know-how. Because if we have a child that is in nursery 2, and that child is made to use this, and the mother is selling in the market, how do we merge them together? Now, we have babies that want to come up. Yes, we have phonics, we have books online that children can learn from. But is this platform going to teach children how to write? These are questions that educators are going to ask. Subsequently, for the teenage children, especially those in the secondary school, how do we manage them from not being able to go into those sites we don't want them to go into, and to keep themselves on this platform when learning is going on? Remembering that we parents will have to go to work, and the educators are in their offices too, trying to do one or two things, and the Zoom class is on with the teachers. How do we manage this? Thank you very much.
I will try. Mr. Ade, will you take? Okay. First, I will try to take the first question. Remember, we said blended learning. We didn't say e-learning straight because we know that there are still ages that need that guidance. We said blended. So while they are learning to write in school, these devices, the content you will put on these devices, just, would I say, for that age you're talking about, because it's not for everybody, but for that age, it's blended. they have the physical part, but they also have this part, because whether we agree or not, we are getting to that place where, like, your 5-year-old should be able to write basic HTML. Like, the world is getting complex to that point. I tried to hire a marketer, a salesperson, and then I realized that, like a digital marketer, I realized that being able to write content is not enough. If you cannot automate my systems for me, you're useless to me. So that is marketing. Do you understand? So the earlier we allow our children have access to these devices, the part about the discipline, I think somebody in the audience wants to take it. But the earlier we allow them have access, the better for us. So you want to answer?
No, don't want to answer anything.
Another question. Eh? No, I understand.
Okay, answer.
All right. That is always a challenge, that students, especially secondary school students, can leave what they're supposed to do and enter questionable sites. But there are devices, and these devices are being regulated. We have settings. Some have parental settings. So these parental control settings can help to protect these children. If they try to access some questionable site, they can be redirected to where they have to be. So all what you need to do is just check the devices you would like to give to your students. Recommend it to their parents. In fact, if you want to provide it for the whole school, if you contact those service providers, they can give in cheap rates, just to ensure that you protect them. Well, apart from that, schools too needs to organize orientations for parents on how to go about this.
Okay, we are coming. But in addition to what he said, my office laptop cannot access YouTube, because that is the setting for my office. You can't access Facebook on the device that the office gives. We are tech people who can try to crack the code. Do you understand? But they have made sure that it is not possible. You have people who are on top of the matter that make sure, that just keep ensuring that that doesn't happen. So you can decide the sites that children cannot go to. But I am happy that an educator answered. I intentionally wanted the answer to come from here. Okay.
Can I add to?
Yes, sir.
Well, I want to talk about this innovation because I'm using it in my school. And those were questions that parents really brought up, which was a big concern. As an administrator, you don't just go into technology without understanding the real problem that you are going to face. I think during that lockdown, like I said, it was like a blessing to us because this was exactly what we intended doing before the lockdown. And when the issue came up, we had called for PTA meetings, we called for trainings, we called for collaborations, a lot of things, a lot of exercise. The teachers were training. It's not just something that you jump into. For us as a school that has a standard, you must go something that you'll be able to manage. But I want to recommend it for any school that want to set standard or you want to bring innovation into what you are doing, because if you are not very careful, you'll be out of business. Now I have noticed that the question you are asking is out of fear. We had that fear. Are children going to do? What are we going to write? In fact, parents were so much, the way you are putting your own is very light. Are we ignoring writing in classroom? What happened to the textbooks that we bought? Are we going to steal? So many questions. But the answer was very simple. Practice makes perfect. By the time we started, I wouldn't even believe that those that came with questionnaires were the ones that run to buy the tablet for their children. because it is their work at home. Busy parents, the time is already there. There's no think time that if it's not 2 o'clock, you don't do this. At your spare time, when you come back, conveniently sit with your children, do that job, you get the answer. It is school that will take a time that, okay, this very question we are sending will allow you 24 hours or we allow you for 8 hours. For the lessons, the lesson has endless. Anytime a child will open is there. The video and the audio part of it, the mathematics is so interesting. I know that fear as the head of school. Am I ready to face this very trouble? Because it's very elaborate. So it will need you to really sit down, come and meet those concerns, let them put you through, because what they are just showing you is very simple. The content is not even an issue. But yes, every child tab in the school has been blocked. We only allow you what we want you to see. A child cannot just go in and do anything. You have a registered username that by the time you log into it, even though you are the owner of that tablet, it's only the father or the mother that has access to it. The child doesn't know anything about it. But I noticed that children are very smart. We've had such issues that they will come, the children cracked some of those tablets. You know, this thing, by the time you start punching, it will give you information. Some will say yes, they didn't even know what to happen. So now we have discovered them. So when you come, we block everything from day one. Don't open that tab in the presence of your child before you bring to us. Bring it fresh so that we can do what we know how to do. So those issues are already out completely. Now they're enjoying it. Our first CATS is going to be purely online.
Courtesy of Blink.
We have to take economic factor as a great challenge because most parents could not afford Android phones, but they could pay fees. But that was the challenge that we had. We couldn't do it. We do it to some parents, and some were complaining. We had to go the hard copy. We use the hard copy. You come to the school, pick the hard copy, do whatever you want to do. After 2 weeks, you return it. But when it has to do with
it's the same way I hear parents or people complain about school fees. Like, I know my child needs to go to school, but there is no money for school fees. But they find it because it is a necessity.
So in that case, what should we do? Because not all fingers are equal. And those schools that are not in high class school, what should we do? Are we going to neglect them in e-learning?
Okay, all right. So I've taken that question. The answer is coming. Let's take all the questions so that we summarize the answer.
Thank you very much. My name is Pastor Mrs. Grace Stephen. Just what the last person said, I have such in mind too. But I want to believe that the 21st century school is not looking at those in the urban areas only. Because you go into the rural communities where there are no lights for you to even charge your phones and all that. And then he has also talked about the economic situation. There are people in schools that the school fees is as low as below 20,000 and they can't even afford to pay it once. Not to talk of bringing in all the technologies we are talking about now. So when we are talking about the 21st century school, we should remember those in the rural areas, and so that we are able to balance. Yes, before you answer, this is the question I wrote down. We are talking about the content, the curriculum content. And I know that the government, through their various commissions, boards, and agencies, are the ones that develop this curriculum. And they put the content through. And all the students, be you in the primary or in the secondary, you are expected to write the same certificate exams so that you'll be certificated. Now we're talking about, varying the content here and there. Are we losing sight of the fact that it's still the same government that produce the curriculum and we issue the certificate and will give you the same exams that all the learners and candidates are expected to write? So when we are talking about this, we should be able to put in all these practical things that apply so that we'll be able to carry our learners along. Thank you very much.
All right, Ma. First, for people in the rural area, there's a government project that is ongoing to create content. So this content we're talking about, I know that public schools are soon going to have it and they will have it projected. So when that happens, if your school is in a rural area, you have to find a way to beat the public schools because government is coming and they are coming on strong. That is one. Secondly, the varied content. We are not asking you to switch the curriculum. So it's the same thing you are doing currently with your teachers. We are just asking you to make it more engaging because these children will need to listen to it or watch it in your absence. So it should be interesting enough for them to want to do it. And we found out from research that these kids are playing games. You know why they play the games, for how long they play it. It is interesting. So make this same curriculum, this same thing that you write in your lesson note and a teacher comes to say, reproduce it, create it in a way that will make this child enjoy it and want to do it without you being around. We're not saying you should switch or vary or change the curriculum.
Mine is not a question, actually. Mine is a contribution somehow to contribute to help us understand to a great extent what we're talking about. Well, looking at the last question, looks like we have a bit of confusion around what the content and curriculum actually is. What we are talking here is that the government gives us the curriculum to work with. And the curriculum is same everywhere. No matter the school, some people have a kind of blend, adding the Nigerian curriculum with probably another kind of international curriculum they are adding to their own school. Probably the British or American curriculum. But in all of that, the Nigerian curriculum stays. And in the curriculum, we have the social studies, for instance, where a child is supposed to learn family. Whether we're doing the British curriculum, the Nigerian curriculum, the American curriculum, is still family. But now we're talking about the content. When you are now developing this curriculum, this family topic you have, now how do you put it to the children? That's what the content is all about. So we're saying, don't do the traditional way of teaching family. Do just like Lady Umar Shoulder, yes, Manti Umar Shoulders, let it be more engaging. You want to teach the children the family? How about making a play? How about having a demonstration? How about having drama around the topic? That's what we are saying here. So let's not say that the government is trying to change, or we are trying to change the curriculum. Everyone is running the same curriculum. We're having the same framework, but how do we interpret this framework so that our children will understand it? Our children will find it more lasting in their memories because of the method of the, in fact, the last speaker, or not the last one, yeah, the one that introduced them, Esther, blew my mind, yes. Mrs. Emma, the content, what makes a good content. And for us, I'm actually the academic manager of my school. So I was very, very interested in that part because that's more of what I do. I interpret content. I try to develop content for the teachers. So I have a bit of understanding of what we're talking. And thanks to all of us here, the young man looking at me, staring at me right now, thanks for every contributions we all have gotten. And Mrs. Kike, sorry about that. And everyone, thank you, and thank you to Blinks and e-learning.
E-library. Okay. All right, so I think she sorted that question more elaborately. And if you have a challenge with content creation, we actually have a way of helping you create content. That's why we're saying, book a time. Let's come and sit down and gist with you. In the gist, we'll find a way to help you solve whatever challenge you may have. And with this, I'm not waiting for the MC so that nobody will ask another question. It's time for lunch. Who? Phone numbers. Okay. 25. If you call that number, somebody, may not be me, but somebody will definitely reach out to solve whatever challenge you have. 070 38 56 44 25. Okay, for lunch I think we'll just file out, take our food, come sit down, eat. But the MC is warning me. And then okay. Alright, so because I don't think we'd have to say anything after lunch. We are grateful, yes. We are grateful that you gave us your Saturday. I know for most people, this is when you should do every other thing. We are happy that you're here. And thank you. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you for everything you have made us learn. I want to thank the speaker specifically. I want to thank Manti. Manti blew our in when she was talking about how powerful you as private school owners are. I want to thank Mrs. Kike, the Ogunsholas, my children. Let me not go biased, but yeah. Okay, and every other school that is here, we are sincerely, like, the notice was very short, and you made it. We are very, very grateful for all the people that asked questions that needed me to think. I am happy because those questions are going to send us back to our drawing board to find solutions that actually work for everybody. And it was a pleasure having you today. Enjoy your lunch and see you some other time. And please, we want to take pictures with you, with everybody actually. We'd like to look at the pictures and have memories of what happened here today. But I am thinking that, should we do inside or outside? Okay, so please, can we just move this way so we take a group photograph?